And I want to thank Gold for the invitation, inviting me to speak with all of you. I want to thank all of you for spending all these hours out here protecting our Second Amendment rights, because this is really all about you. It's not really about the leaders. This is a grassroots movement. Without you, we have no gun rights movement. So give yourself a pat on the back and an applaud. Thank you. There's an old maxim that says, when governments fear people, there's liberty. And when people fear the government, there's tyranny. Unfortunately, the America we know today resembles the latter more than the former. Just look at some recent polling data. For the first time ever, a majority of Americans now believe that the federal government threatens their rights and their freedom. And if you live in Massachusetts, you can say the same thing about your state government. According to a recent Pew Research Center poll, 53% of Americans believe the government is a threat. And not only that, 3 in 10 Americans believe it's a major threat. And there are a number of other polls that corroborate that data as well. And as President Obama and Democrats from coast to coast push their legislative agenda for stricter gun control and a ban on popular semi-automatic firearms and standard capacity magazines, 62% of those with a firearm in their home believe their rights are threatened. And even Americans who don't feel threatened by Washington distrust government and are frustrated with it. And I believe that those numbers are only getting worse as Democrats continue to attack Second Amendment rights. I get to speak to a lot of audiences who don't always agree with me. I'm like a group like you where we're all sympathetic to our cause and our rights. And when I speak to them, I like to ask them a question. What has 4 legs and chases cats? Can you answer that? A dog, sorry, no. The correct answer is Mrs. Katz and her attorney. The point I'm trying to make is sometimes in the gun control and gun rights debate, things aren't always the way they appear to be. Let me give you just a couple quick examples. Back when they passed the Brady Bill and gave us a national waiting period, the anti-gunners did that because they figured that if it made it more difficult for you and I to be able to buy a firearm, they'd sell less firearms. If they sold less firearms, there'd be less gun stores. If there were less gun stores, there'd be less gun manufacturers. Less guns made and sold to all of us. Well, what happened? We opposed it, of course, because a right delayed is a right denied, as Dr. Martin Luther King said. But what was the net effect of this? You know, gun stores don't have a whole lot of foot traffic. So when people had to go back in a second time to pick up their gun, what happened? Well, they bought more ammo, they bought accessories, and they bought more guns. And gun sales really didn't go down, they went up. Sometimes things aren't the way they appear to be. So that's definitely the case in this gun control debate. Another example. 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, time flies, when they passed the Sullivan ban. What happened? Well, in the year they debated it, they sold a 10-year supply of those firearms in 1 year. Basically, they accelerated the amount of guns tenfold, and they took no guns away from anybody that had one, right? Well, that wasn't exactly what the anti-gunners really wanted to do, was it? But things aren't as the way they appear to be. And the funny thing happened. Crime rates went down with those firearms. They didn't go up, even though there was a 10-year supply sold in 1 year. Things aren't the way they appear to be. These are not the results the opponents of gun ownership want. But they never seem to learn from history. What do those pushing anti-gun rights agenda really want as their end game? Illinois Democratic Congressman Janusz Schakowsky wants to make one thing very clear. The attempt to ban so-called assault weapons is only the beginning of their planned attack on the Second Amendment. Schakowsky made these comments to a reporter at the 1 Billion Rising Women's Rights Rally in February, referring to Sandy Hook tragedy. A moment of opportunity, end quote. Schakowsky went on to say that everything is on the table. There's no question about it. We're on a roll now, and I think we've got to push as hard as we can and as fast as we can. When pressed on exactly what she meant, Schakowsky noted that her choice for the next ban would be handguns, followed by allowing individual communities to deny Second Amendment rights to those who live or travel within their boundaries. I'm sure that even now, she's being chastised by the White House for letting the truth slip. But make no mistake about it, it's the truth and it's the ultimate goal of the Democratic Party. good.